Good morning to all. A very warm welcome to this much anticipated meeting with you, and by extension, the public of St. Lucia. I recognize the presence of many media houses and the presence of my colleague Mary Francis, who is present today, and the family members of some of the deceased. I thank you all for coming, and I'm looking forward to a very interactive meeting with you all. Present with me are Crown Counsel Linton Robinson and Crown Counsel Curtis Raphael. I've convened this meeting not only to update you on the long outstanding matters highlighted in my press invitation, but also to enlighten you about my office. I don't think I've done so enough. The Crown Prosecution Service. I want to outline what our functions are, as I have recognized in many instances my office's role is conflated with that of other offices. I will explain to you the distinct roles of my office and the investigative agencies empowered by statute to institute criminal proceedings. The office of the DPP was created by our Constitution, our supreme law, and I think it's necessary to go into some detail. Section 73 creates the office and reads as follows: the control of public prosecutions. There shall be a director of public prosecutions whose office shall be a public office. The director of public prosecutions, by way of Section 2, shall have the power in any case in which he or she considers it desirable so to do, to institute and undertake criminal proceedings against any person before any court of law other than a court martial in respect of any offense alleged to have been committed by that person. I am also empowered to take over and continue any such criminal proceedings that have been instituted or undertaken by any other person or authority, obviously with the power to institute criminal proceedings. And also, my office is clothed with the power to discontinue at any stage before judgment is delivered any such criminal proceedings instituted or undertaken by the DPP himself or herself or any other person or authority. The powers of the Director of Public Prosecutions under subsection 2 may be exercised by him or her in person or through other persons acting under and in accordance with his or her general and special instructions or special instructions. The powers conferred to the Director of Public Prosecution by subsections 2 shall be vested in him or her to the exclusion of any other person or authority, with one caveat, provided that where any other person or authority has instituted criminal proceedings, nothing in this section shall prevent the withdrawal of those proceedings by or at the instance of that person or authority and with leave of the court. I see these to be the quite applicable sections under the Constitution, and subsection 6 of 73, in the exercise of the powers vested in the DPP, him or her, by section 2 and section 46, the Director of Public Prosecutions shall not be subject to the direction or control of any other authority. So in our discourse, we will go into details. I know that you will have many questions. We will deal with them later on. In my last address to the public, I did outline the functions of my office. I think there is need to reiterate that my office in its current construct, does not conduct criminal investigations. The conduct of investigations are done by agencies empowered by statute to do so. Let me give you typical examples. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force, which is headed by the Commissioner of Police, Customs and Excise, St. Lucia NC Ports Authority, the Financial Intelligence Agency, and recently the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, to name a few. None of these agencies mentioned are under the direct command of my office, and as such, I cannot instruct them. My office can render advice to these agencies when requested by them. I want it to be clear and indicate that my office has no power to prevent any of those agencies from instituting criminal proceedings against a person, nor can I direct them to institute. Once, however, criminal proceedings are commenced in any court in this state by any of those agencies or any empowered by statute to commence criminal proceedings, my office is clothed with the power to take over and continue or discontinue these proceedings. Hence, for obvious reasons, it is expected that my office and the agencies that I have mentioned before work in tandem to ensure that criminal matters brought before the court have a realistic prospect of conviction, which is the fundamental test. In the context of the matters I am addressing you on today, my primary function is to review the review of evidence gathered and advise the Commissioner of Police of my findings, as the investigative team who have been charged with the duty to review and continue these investigations remain under the command of the Commissioner of Police. Having reviewed the instances of police shootings or police-related shootings in this state from October of 2016, when I took office, there was clearly and remains a need for the establishment of an independent agency to undertake these investigations. This, I find, as in other jurisdictions, promotes transparency and public confidence in an agency that is separate from the police force and therefore not under the command of any authority. The formation of this Special Investigations Unit or agency was recommended to the government of St. Lucia, and I am aware that Cabinet Conclusion number 120, dated the 8th of February 2021, approved its formation and was passed on to the Office of the Attorney General for the necessary action. To date, I can advise that this agency has not been formalized and the investigators are still under the command of the Commissioner of Police. I sincerely hope that its formation, based on the advantages outlined above, will still be effected in the near future. There is need to repeat that the decision to prosecute anyone is not a simple task. It is not indeed a simple exercise and is determined by evidence gathered in the course of investigations. This evidence being sufficient to provide a realistic prospect of conviction. This would include eyewitness evidence or forensic evidence, as I indicated when I last spoke with you, linking an individual to a crime, opinions, speculations, especially now in this world of social media, as to who has committed a crime or who is responsible for the death of someone, is clearly not evidence upon which a criminal charge can be laid. In my last address to you, I made it clear, and I will do so again, that I cannot give details of the evidence gathered in these matters thus far. But I can assure you that I have discussed this evidence with the Commissioner of Police, and I have provided her with my findings relating to the 3 remaining matters under review. I shall deal with each in the order listed in my invitation. Reginald Jeux, shot and killed by the police on 28 February 2011 at Marsha. I have continuously reviewed the evidence gathered in this police shooting. The investigation, I must say, is nearly complete. And as such, I have advised the Commissioner of Police that the further lines of inquiry, and I just want to stop, on the last occasion I indicated that there were further lines of inquiry to be explored, that these lines of inquiry embarked upon by the investigative team, which was done subsequent to the coroner's inquest in this matter, have revealed sufficient evidence, in my view, to warrant the arrest and formal interviewing of the officers involved on suspicion of reckless manslaughter. I have therefore requested the Commissioner of Police that the investigative team be directed to complete the investigation, thus allowing due process of law to function. I will go on to the second matter of Dwight Henry, who was shot and killed by the police on 12 April 2011 at Marigot, quarter of Ancillary. I again, having reviewed this matter in its entirety, including the further lines of inquiry explored by the investigative team, I do not find that there exists sufficient evidence to warrant the arrest of the officers involved. As it relates to the shootings of Kevin Ferdinand, Rosarius Markey, John Baptist McFarlane, Michelle Cadet, and Alan Louisi, all shot and killed by the police on 5th of May 2011 at Vierfort. Further lines of inquiry have been explored. I find that this investigation is near completion, and the evidence emanating from the investigation in the further lines of inquiries, as aforesaid, is sufficient, in my view, to warrant the arrest and formal interviewing of the officers involved on suspicion of reckless manslaughter. I have advised the Commissioner accordingly. These were the matters that were on review as it pertains to my last indication to the media at my last press release in 2021. There also are matters of tremendous public concern and interest that have continued to make their rounds in terms of the public outcry, etc. And one of these matters is that of Arnold Joseph, who was shot and killed by the police on 22nd of May 2019, about 10:40 p.m. at the intersection of Chaussee and La Pensée Road in the city of Castries. I am aware of this matter, and I'm aware that it has been investigated by the investigative team, and that a file has been submitted to the Commissioner of Police. This matter has not been formally sent to my office for advice, contrary to what has been said on the media. My office remains committed to providing advice as soon as we are in receipt of it in this matter, once the request is made by the Commissioner of Police. I shall now proceed to update you as promised on the Shakadan Daniel matter. This deceased was found dead whilst in custody at the Miku police station on 23rd October 2013. The investigative team is also charged with the review and continued investigations into this matter. I can assure you that this matter remains active in terms of investigations, as there are outstanding lines of inquiry to be explored, which includes forensic testing in relation to exhibits recovered in this matter. These exhibits, to date, from my understanding, have not been submitted for testing to date. Therefore, based on the evidence reviewed thus far, I find that the investigation of Shakadan Daniel is incomplete, and as such, I urge the Commissioner of Police to cause these outstanding matters in the course of the investigation to be addressed. Kimberly De Leon, shot and killed at her residence on 29th October 2018. This matter, I can assure the public that this matter remains an active investigation, and this investigation is being conducted by the Major Crimes Unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. I am aware that there are outstanding lines of inquiry in this matter which require the assistance of external agencies. I am in receipt of a preliminary file, and I can conclude, based on this preliminary file, that this matter needs to be completed in terms of its investigation. And I would urge again for the Commissioner of Police and the requisite Major Crimes Unit to do what is necessary to ensure that these lines of inquiry are carried out so that I can be updated in relation to this matter and have an update for you in due course. I also listed Oliver Gobat, killed on the 25th of April 2014. His homicide has continued to attract significant public interest. The investigation has been assigned to the investigative team, and I have been reviewing this evidence, the evidence gathered for the last 7 years. This matter has proven to be very complex in nature, and further lines of inquiry are being pursued with the assistance of external agencies. I remain confident, based on my review of this matter, that all possible lines of inquiry are being explored to bring resolution to this matter. There are many more matters that I would like to address, and I will do so on a later date. I will assure you of that. And I really want to thank the families and the public who have been affected by these matters for their patience. Now, I know that there are many questions to be asked, and I will welcome these questions presently. If anyone wishes to commence, as I did indicate, the questions do not have to be related directly to the indications I've given. Can you just indicate your name and your department?
Yeah, good morning. Should I use the mics, guys?
Yes, we can use the mic.
Good morning. Janika Simon. I have a number of questions. So I think, as usual, so we can just go through and you can stop me when you've had enough. The first one I have is I understand that you are not in charge, the DPP's office is not in charge of conducting the investigations. That has to do with other law enforcement agencies. However, your office is in charge of prosecuting the matters in court. We all know the adage, justice delayed is justice denied. We also know that when a crime is committed, time is of the essence to gather evidence and information that would allow you to do your job. We have had unsolved or unprosecuted homicides dating back to 2011, that's over 10 years now, that are still in the phase of active investigation. So my question is, have you had any communication with your counterparts in the investigative agencies to understand why it is taking them so long to complete a file, complete an investigation, and hand it over to you for determination? That's the first thing. And secondly, in the matters that you have referenced, namely Arnold Joseph, Shakadan Daniel, and Mr. Jean, do you believe that after so long it is even possible for your office to get sufficient evidence to bring these matters forward?
Okay, and to respond to your first indication or question, these matters are not constrained by any time limitations. And matters take time sometimes due to their complexity, and again, sometimes due to inordinate delay on the part of investigative agencies. And I can say that that can be a cause. But I'm not saying this at this juncture, reference to the matters that you have referenced. These matters took some time from the commencement to this present stage that we are at. There were coroner's inquests ordered in these matters that took some time, from 2011, if I recall clearly, to 2012, and then there would have been some form of delay, I would say, in moving the matters forward, in exploring further lines of inquiry. And you bring me right on to the indication that I've made for the establishment of a special investigations agency. I think that any police-related shooting ought to be sent or referred to a special agency that is properly formulated, so that we do not face this inordinate delay in bringing matters before the court. You've said, how long does it take to compile an investigation file? Spanning 11 years, etc. And I must say, in defense of the police and the major crimes unit, as we can see the numbers of matters, indictable matters, that we have annually, we have murders in the 70s presently. And the one deficiency is the presence of enough human resource to meet the demands of all of these investigations. I don't think that the major crimes unit is equipped or manned by more than 10 persons for this entire jurisdiction. So this can be a cause of the delay. And delay is also caused when you have to rely on the services of external agencies, right, to get, the other lines of inquiry or evidence, etc., tested. So that was your first indication. And if you can just refresh my memory on the second question.
Well, I had asked about the length of time that it would take to compile files, and then also I'm asking whether you are confident that given the length of time that has elapsed in some of these investigations, whether you will get any evidence of the quality sufficient to allow you to bring these matters forward.
From my experience, I do believe that it is very much possible that this can occur. My oldest matter during my tenure here was 20 years old. And I think there should be no, excuse. It's really inordinate in terms of, the time that these matters have taken. But we were able to secure a conviction after 20 years. So I am not based on the evidence that is gathered, I am not going to say that it will affect due process of law. But what will affect it is, during this time, there is the court of public opinion. Many persons indicating what they believed transpired. I'm seeing now on social media, all on the, the YouTube, etc., these indications. This is not acceptable in this, jurisdiction at present. It's not. Because you want to ensure that the interest of justice is served, and that you also want to maintain and observe the rights of persons who may be accused of committing certain indictable matters. So I think it's about time more is done as it pertains to offenses that are basically committed online. And I think it's important for us to, and I think we will go there. I do believe we will go there in a few. So the long and short of it is, I do believe that there is a good prospect. Even though a matter might be 10 years old, I have dealt with, as a matter of fact, I can say, I have dealt with matters 12, 10, 20, and this is the current situation. So I believe that we have a good prospect if everything is gathered appropriately.
You mentioned resource constraints within the police force. Can we speak about resource allocations within your office? Do you believe that the office of the DPP is adequately resourced to conduct all of the prosecutions that it needs to be, speak to me about how many cases is the office going through a year, and how many are you taking personal responsibility for?
Oh, yes. The answer of whether we are sufficiently equipped is a resounding no. We are in no way sufficiently equipped for us to embark and to continue in the manner that we are presently. There are 6 of us at the DPP's office. And let me just draw in a background. The Crown Prosecution Service encompasses the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Police Prosecution Unit. You with me? The DPP's office will primarily embark on dealing with the prosecution of indictable offenses before the High Court. And to a greater extent, the police prosecution team, are responsible for the summary courts, magistrates' court. Presently, the police prosecution unit, there is a dearth of police prosecutors. A unit that requires about at least 13 to 17 persons, we are struggling with the numbers. As a matter of fact, I have seen that persons who are not qualified by way of their rank under the criminal code to prosecute, as the criminal code indicates that you must be of the rank of corporal, etc., that there is a dearth of persons in the unit. Some persons are given acting appointments to take on the responsibility of prosecution. Upon the termination of their acting, what happens? They are no longer able to prosecute the matters on their own. So what becomes of it? We then create the significant backlogs because we are not efficiently manned. You know, I have expressed my concern, and I cannot fathom why this matter has not been addressed. I cannot. Because plainly, we have approximately 2,000, maybe 2,200 matters in the district court to be determined, to be tried. And my contingent of prosecutors in the north and south do not add up to 10. You know. So it is a very, very concerning situation. Moving forward, I believe, and I have made suggestions in order to curtail this problem, but it has not been addressed as yet. So that's with the Magistrates' Court. In the High Court of Justice, there are 6 of us. There now exists 4 courts running simultaneously before the High Court. I believe the backlog of matters before the High Court is at about 1,300. When you do the division, you can clearly understand that if we are to achieve any semblance of progress, my office needs to be empowered by fortifying it with more persons, Crown Counsel, police prosecutors, so that we can fulfill our mandate. One other thing.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Is our housing. We, and I believe this has been a problem for as long as I've been the DPP, 7 years going on to 8. We have a serious housing difficulty. Having my team to operate in conditions that are not conducive, where half of our office was without cooling for a year and a half. We, notwithstanding these restraints, we continue to operate, put fans in there, do what we can. But we've never closed shop, we've never. And I can say to you that we will remain resolute in ensuring that we continue, regardless of the circumstances that we face. Yes?
So my last question for now, I'll try to come back later if there's still more time. Some people, including several legal practitioners, have suggested to me that Section 30 of the Criminal Code indicates that the armed services, the armed forces, have the, how should I put it, authority to use deadly force when trying to apprehend a suspect.
Having the suspicion that they have committed an indictable offense.
Correct. My understanding, however, of the law is that statute should not be read in isolation and that there are other considerations, including due process. But however, several people have contacted me suggesting that this section makes any prosecution of police involved killings moot. I just would like you please to address that concept and explain, you know, that section. Thanks for now.
I completely disagree with that proposition. Section 30 of the Criminal Code allows for the police who have suspected that an indictable offense has been committed, that they can in their pursuit in apprehending the individual, the section says, even kill, right? In order to apprehend him or her, okay? Having had reason to believe that they have committed this sort of offense. But again, I would say, hold on one second. I would say that it all boils down to the circumstances of the particular case. That is not what you would say that it's a pass or a card to say, hey, anybody who is suspected of committing an indictable offense, you know what, I need to arrest them. If they turn around and run, let me kill them or let me shoot them. Let me use deadly force. That cannot obtain. And I don't think, I'll say clearly that they are misguided in that regard. Okay? But thank you so much. That's a very good observation in terms of that section. Yes?
Good morning, Mr. Greene. Thank you very much for inviting the press
Yes.
to meet
You're
with
most
you.
welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Is there a difficulty with your mic?
No, sir. No, sir. My mic is fine. So I have a few questions, and I will start off with the list of people. You could just tell me, out of this list, those that you have, because I heard you with the two that you are going to continue with.
Yes.
But just for the elucidation of St. Lucians and the families. In the case of Owen Jacob Jules,
What was the date of this one?
no. Are you interested in this matter or not?
If a matter is brought to my attention, I can tell you whether I have it right for review, etc. Owen Jacob Jules. If you can refresh my memory or provide me with details of the incident, I would be able to say.
He was shot.
Although
by.
Although I would just say to the media, it is very important that we recognize if there are any matters pending that have not been concluded by some form before the courts, please let us not go, as you saw and you heard me indicating about lines of inquiry, but let us not even indicate certain things that might compromise the investigation.
Very well, sir. And at any point in time, if there's any questions that I ask that you are uncomfortable with, I will move on to the
No
next
problem.
question.
Yes.
When Jacob Jules was shot by Corporal 541 Jean, and he was assisted by Inspector Bradley. It was investigated by Inspector Collymore at the time. He was shot near Bank of St. Lucia.
What is the year?
What was the year of when Jacob Jules?
That is the question. Now again, Mr. Elliott.
There's also
Yes,
there are a few more, sir.
Okay.
So you don't have
So
knowledge of this one.
no. Let's go in stages. So if there is a year, and if there is some indication as to when it transpired, there's no difficulty in me reviewing and looking at these matters. But I am not aware of this matter.
Okay. Peter Moonlight Williams.
Oh yes, I'm
The-
well aware of this matter. I
Out
can
of
stop you and tell you that this matter has not been shelved. This is the matter that occurred at the landings facility. Correct? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. This matter remains active, and I am aware that the investigative unit is conducting further investigations into this matter.
What year did this incident happen, Mr. Greene?
I do believe it was about 2012, thereabout.
We are in 2024, 12 years later.
Yes.
The police investigations cannot be concluded. How much longer? How much longer should we wait, Mr. Greene?
You know,
7 years ago when you came in, you said you were going to deal with this.
Yeah.
You haven't dealt with it because we're here.
right. This matter, together with many others, right? When you look at the sheer numbers, Mr. Elliott, there's a lot to be dealt with. And again, I believe that we should not shelve them, even though, in your opinion, there is great inordinate delay in getting them resolved. But I won't advise that they should be shelved. I believe that they should continue, and that when or where there is sufficient evidence to move forward, we will.
Derek Sinogis,
Yes.
Hilarion Emmanuel, Jason Warrican,
Yeah.
Kimroy Simon, Ashley Bernard, aka Skunk, Bertram Charles. Mr. Greene, are you interested in these matters?
These matters were reviewed. These matters, you have conflated them with some other ones, but these matters, at the last indication that I gave, the evidence that is contained in the investigations in these matters cannot move them forward.
Why did you now put out Dwight Henry? What was the significant reason?
Because Dwight Henry, on the last occasion, there were still further lines of inquiry, which I am not at liberty to indicate to you. However, I can say that they were explored.
The officers involved in the Dwight Henry matter from 2011, I believe, till now have been stuck at the same post. Mr. Greene, since you are now uninterested in this case, what do you think should happen to the career or the position of these gentlemen?
You see, I will say something clearly. I will not delve into the administrative issues of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. And my task is to review what has been investigated. And this is a matter squarely placed for the Commissioner of Police.
Mr. Greene, have you read the impacts report?
Yes, I have it right here.
Mr. Greene, why do you think this report was conducted?
All right, but I'm going, and I'll tell you, team, we're not going to go into the intricacies of this report.
Why do you think the report was conducted, Mr. Greene?
The report was embarked upon at the behest of the government of St. Lucia. It was embarked upon in response to the incidents of police shootings.
Does it hold evidential value, Mr. Greene?
Not very much.
Did you speak with the investigators yourself?
Oh yes. You mean from the team?
Yes.
Right. Let me indicate. Let me just give you a background. I was appointed the DPP on the 22nd of September 2016. I started formally on the 18th of October 2016. I first received this report just about that time from the relevant authorities. And my first mission as DPP on the 3rd of November 2016 was to Jamaica. I ensured that I reviewed this document completely, and I sat in the office of the person in charge. I sat and had a meeting with the lead investigator in this matter, in these matters.
Does the report hold evidential value, Mr. Greene?
To a great extent, Mr. Elliott, it holds a lot of intelligence. But what you may speculate occurred in any incident is not automatically transformed to evidence. So I have told everyone prior to now, I have not relied on this report to discern any evidential value from it, apart from the utilization of it for intelligence purposes.
Mr. Greene, why did you decide this time around to lay charges or interview or arrest the officers involved in the Reginald Jean shooting?
Yeah. This has been, it's not, and I want to make it clear again in context, this has been my position for some time. Okay? And I know that I first met the Commissioner of Police, who was first appointed in 2022, right? And this has been my position for quite some time. You must understand, in the context of what I said earlier, I do not lead the charge. I do not command. And Mr. Elliott, I want to stress, because you see, if we look at it in a holistic way, if there was an independent agency for the conduct of these matters, I believe we would have been much further, much sooner in these matters. Without saying much more, just 1 second. When he's finished, you can come up to to give. So it has been my position for quite some time.
And you said you read the report and you are very familiar with it.
Very familiar with it.
Mr. Greene, was Richard Frederick implicated in that report, and was he implicated in the killing of Reginald Jean?
No, Mr. Elliott, I will say this.
I'm asking you based on the impacts report
No,
that you've read.
But the impacts report is hearsay. And so I am not going to ever venture there because it does not reveal any evidential material that we can act upon.
Was he in the report or
it's
not?
like, no,
was he in the
will not-
report, Mr.
I
Greene?
will not answer that. I believe that we must stand for the integrity of persons.
Who was the politician who had operational command of the police force during that time?
At that time, the police officer or what?
Who was the
politician?
Who was the minister with operational command of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force at the time?
I don't recall. I don't recall who was the minister. But again, I'm telling you, and I would say that you need to be very careful in terms of the indications you've made. As you've seen, I've been very, 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 very careful with what I'm saying. Again, members of the public, members of the press,
in the case of
this
the
impacts report is a report as it is. It does not provide evidence of the commission of an offense that I can act on by any minister of government. Are we clear?
So I understand.
Wonderful.
So in the case of the View 45, the single point of contact, the spoke.
Let's not go there. As I said again, I have indicated what my position is, but have I named one officer? No. I have not named the officers in this matter, right? Anyone. I would advise you not to. Before the determination, if any of these matters, we need to be very, very, very careful, right? In indicating.
I'll ask you two non-impacts related questions in closing, Mr. Greene.
No problem.
Dylan Joseph, killed in Grand Riviere in 2017 by a female. You were DPP at the time.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Greene, what is the update on this matter?
This matter was indeed reviewed by the team. I did meet with the police in that matter, and that there was to be further evidence gathered in this matter pertaining to this particular matter. And again, I would advise you not to go into the details of it.
Mr. Greene, why are you having a press conference? Why? Because every other question we ask you, you're not able to provide any information on it.
Because, Mr. Elliott.
Mr. Greene, 1 second.
Yeah.
You are the Director of Public Prosecutions. Your primary purpose here is to work with the police to prosecute cases. In this particular case, Mr. Greene, there's a suspect, there are statements. Can the suspect be found, Mr. Greene? You cannot tell us?
I have not reviewed, and this again,
Mr. Greene, it is 7 years later.
Like I said to you, but there are so many that I have to review. There's so many. Like I've said to you, if the police are intent in terms of their powers to institute proceedings, they can go right ahead and do so. I, in that matter, did not in any way indicate to or not to commence proceedings against anyone. I can tell you that.
Where is this matter at
So
present? Because somebody has died.
Yes, of course.
Was an inquest held?
No.
Was a suspect arrested?
But an inquest doesn't have to be convened in every instance.
Mr. Greene, I
Yes,
want
of course,
an
believe-
update on the matter.
I believe that this matter was investigated by the Grosley Police Station. I think so. And I believe that there was a suspect in custody. Yeah.
And do you know if that suspect was charged?
No, not to my knowledge. That person was not charged
So-
at present.
You are telling St. Lucians that Dylan Joseph, on the 8th of January 2017, that to this point, your office and the police cannot make a determination as to whether this person should be charged.
Oh no. My office gave specific instructions, okay, from what my perspective was in relation to this matter.
What were the instructions, Mr. Greene?
I will not say that to you.
Mr. Greene, it's a
Mr.
mute press
Elliott,
conference.
and
Let me ask you my final
no,
question,
it's
Mr.
not.
Greene.
No, it's not.
Because we're not getting the information.
Because
Let me ask you the
just
final
let me
question.
finish. Let me finish with this. Because the public must understand what we are doing here, Mr. Elliott, is trying to ventilate facts of a very intricate matter in the court of public opinion.
Mr. Greene, I asked you a question about your office.
Yes.
If you gave specific instructions about a matter, it's either to charge or not to charge. It was a simple case and it still remains unsolved on the books. Out of all of these matters I've asked you, you've been able to speak about one. So forgive me for
No problem.
coming to the conclusion that it is a mute press conference.
It's mute. Okay.
Yes, it is. My final question to you is, this press conference seems very related to police-related shootings, correct?
Yes, to update in terms of the review that we had commenced and embarked upon from what you have been indicating in terms of the what you consider to be the impacts report. Yeah.
Is the Kimberly De Leon a police-related shooting?
No, it's not. At this present time, you cannot say that it is a police-related shooting. It is a homicide that is being investigated, and that where there is sufficient evidence to find that someone should be arrested, interviewed, or charged, that will be done.
Thank you,
It
Mr.
has
Greene.
been simply a matter of great public concern, right, from the outset. Okay?
Thank you very much. Thank
Yes.
you.
But you can ask some other questions if you'd like.
Nice. Okay.
You know, I don't want it to be mute, but I must guide you.
It sounded to me like the investigative powers of the office are almost non-existent. That this seems to be, and it looks like, a fundamental weakness of the justice system, injustice being seen to be done. So we have a situation where police are investigating themselves, and we're having problems getting independent prosecutors to look at things in a way that would satisfy a reasonable person. Do you and your office, should I just give you all the questions at once? And then, because I don't want to take up too much time.
No, I'm here. And if you have any further ones, I will deal with them as well.
Do you and your office feel restricted by the dearth of investigative powers that you have here? That a prosecutor with no investigative powers seems redundant, doesn't it?
Not really. Not really. Now, you can see from the Constitution that the power is vested in my office to institute proceedings. That would entail, as I said in my initial indication to you, that in the present construct, right, we do not conduct investigations. This would have had to have been modeled in a way that investigators could be attached to the office and thereby proceed to investigate certain matters. A case in point, if you are familiar with the special prosecutor, the act, that empowered the special prosecutor to conduct investigations and to have investigators assigned to his.
But we can't have special prosecutors for everything. It seems that there are crimes being committed every day.
As a matter of fact, to be
when we
quite
look at
honest,
other justice systems, we look at the French, the equivalent of the prosecutor there would have investigative powers. We have strong investigative powers.
Stop.
Please, go ahead.
Let me explain. The French system of investigation is what we call an inquisitorial system, okay, which is distinct from our system.
And what are the advantages of our system? Why are we choosing this way?
Well, the adversarial system has been used from times immemorial from the English.
What
right?
are the advantages of why are we choosing this way?
You can, there are certain safeguards for the suspect or defendant, right? And that we use the jury system in determining the guilt or innocence of persons brought before the court, right? The inquisitorial system, in my humble view, right, deals with the investigations a bit differently, as I think you would be aware. And all over the world, there are distinct powers given to prosecutors. You have in the States, you have the district attorneys. In France, you have the prosecutors having these sort of powers. Here, we do not conduct investigations.
Wouldn't you prefer to have the power and the resources to conduct investigations?
To be honest with you, I think the fact that we conduct the prosecutions, I would prefer for investigative agencies to be armed with the investigative powers and relay these matters to the DPP.
But that still leaves us with the problem of police investigating police.
Let's stop right there. Let's go back to what I said. We have a situation where police may be called upon to investigate police. What's the best solution? Have an independent organization or agency to conduct these investigations, right? And also other serious investigations. And that, to me, is a perfect fix to this matter. I am a bit disappointed in the ambit of the powers of the special prosecutor as he deals with matters of corruption in public office, right? I would have thought that the office of a special prosecutor might have combined the resources of a special investigations unit or agency for these purposes, still under the control of the special prosecutor and the director of public prosecutions, obviously in my position, having this supervisory role as it pertains to matters before the court. So for me, the answer is a distinct unit.
And for the Crown Prosecution Service, for your office, to continue to only have more resources to prosecute, but to not be involved directly in investigations?
Let me just enlighten you a bit more. We are assisting the police in many respects from the time the matter has been reported. We have a very, very simple and open door policy with law enforcement and other investigative agencies that we can provide the necessary guidance. What we do need, we need more prosecutors, a lot more prosecutors, to be able to fulfill that mandate.
You understand that to a lot of us, it sounds like what you were saying in the beginning about opening lines of questioning. What you were saying in the beginning, it seems to indicate the problem is not prosecution, the problem is investigation.
The problem...
That what we lack is investigation.
No, we lack capacity in all respects. The justice system lacks capacity in all respects. Housing, prosecution, of course. And we have, right. Okay, I will definitely agree with you on that one. We need to have many more investigators. I completely agree. Okay, is that all? Yes.
Sorry.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Mary Williams. I'm the mother of Kimberly DeLeo. Mr. Greene, I need an update on that translation you were expecting.
Stop. I would stop you now. As I have heard you, okay, through the media, I've been told of this. Again, as you are well aware, I am not investigating this matter, okay? I am reviewing it. Please, I would guide you. Do not reveal or say or speculate as to what is being done in relation to the investigation at this stage. To me, it's not opportune in the circumstances. Please. If you wish, I'll tell you, if you wish to have a further indication, as it is your right, please see the Commissioner of Police. You need to go to see so you can discuss this in private. I will not for, under any circumstances, discuss this in a public setting like this. I do apologize.
I've had meetings with the commissioner.
Okay. But please do that.
Also,
Yes.
the investigating officer, he has requested, along with his colleagues, that is,
Again. If
but I
you-
have to say it. If that's how I
Yeah,
have
but
to ask
listen,
it, that's
well,
how I have to ask
understand,
it.
but again, remember what I said? I said, and I know that you will get upset very quickly.
No, I
but,
don't get upset, but when people try to shut me up when I'm
no,
fighting for my rights,
no,
I have a problem with
it's
it.
not, so you know what? You need to speak to the appropriate authorities. I am not at this juncture, okay? I will review what they have given to me, okay, in this matter. I would say to you, and I would implore you to go to the Major Crimes Unit and by extension to the Commissioner of Police and make these inquiries and observations there. My office is always open to everyone, as you know, okay? But I must be candid and honest, right, with everyone that I deal with, right, who make inquiries of me. But I don't think it is fair for you to try to put in the open indications of what the investigation entails, etc. No.
But have you contacted the investigative team as to what new evidence they've had? Because every time I go, whether it's to your office or their office, I get the runaround.
You haven't been to my office for quite
Oh,
some
lately,
time.
and I will not. Not in any
Because-
time soon.
right,
That's a done
yeah,
deal.
so remember that. And look, it is your right, but what can I say to you? I have to be honest with you. I have to be honest. And that's the only thing I can do.
But
I
if-
cannot tell you what you wish to hear. I will continue to say to the public what I have and what I can do in the circumstances. Okay?
Yeah,
So
but
please.
I have to find a forum from to ask the
Of
question
course.
because everybody is denying me an opportunity to speak the way I want and to answer questions that I want.
but-
Therefore, if this is the opportunity, I think I should be allowed the time of day to do what to ask the questions
As a
that I have to
responsible
ask.
Prosecutor, if I know that you are trying to delve into the evidential aspect of an investigation, it is only in having your interests at heart I'm saying to you, please do not, because you may just simply compromise the investigation.
I've been to the commissioner.
Well, go again.
And she's relying on what the investigative officers have said to her, looking for more evidence, when I was told that everything was in. Everything was in.
Now, I can undertake and tell you that I will continue to deal with the Major Crimes Unit and ask, right, for an update. I know, as I said to you, that there are lines of inquiry which are beyond this jurisdiction, and that is the furthest I can go. So please, if you have these concerns, make that appointment, no matter how long it takes you, and express these concerns in these quarters.
Along the lines of your inquiry, it was said that, it was said to me personally that there was one thing needed, and the officer, he said to me he had to send it abroad. My question, when I went for an update, my question to him was, what's the update? Well, the place is closed. I asked him, is there anywhere else in the world you can send for what you are looking for? He said no. Now, obviously, that's a lie. And if he comes there right now, he said it to me, and I will repeat
If that
it.
is the case, based on what you're saying, and again, I've
So I don't know
spoken
if
to
you have knowledge of all of these
no,
things.
No.
That's
And
that's a lie.
I will tell you, I will definitely, I know Major Crimes is working on the matter. I will definitely reach out to them and find out. As a matter of fact, I will indeed speak with the Commissioner of Police. Because I don't want, and what I'm saying, members of the media, if we really do an account of how we handle matters, the matters that arise very recently, we try our best to deal with them as soon as is possible, rather than place them in a line, okay? And I know that there are the constraints from the police perspective, and I do understand your hurt, your concern, right? But I cannot tell you a lie. I cannot tell you something that does not exist. So I am going to say to you that I will undertake to have that meeting with the Commissioner of Police and the investigation unit from the Major Crimes Unit, okay? And within 2 weeks from now, I would like you to attend the office to find out what the update is.
Well,
And that's the
apparently
best
there's
I
a
can
lack of communication between you and the investigating officers.
Again, you see,
Because if there are certain things that I know and you do not know, when in fact you're supposed to know,
well, you see,
there is a
that is
breakdown
why,
in communication.
Again, you are conflating the functions. It does not operate as soon as another line of inquiry is made that I'm immediately informed of it.
It's been 5 years.
The Commissioner of Police would be. That is their function
little
as
over
that
5
agency.
years.
Of course, and I understand your concerns completely. Understand. But that's all I can say to you.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
be following up.
Definitely. You are most welcome to.
Okay, good morning. My
Good
name
morning.
is Kira Centrose.
Kira St. Rose?
Yes, Mr. Greene, I want to go back to your point that your office is not adequately manned enough to handle the cases in St. Lucia. Well, to handle it, you know, how it should be handled. My question is, one, Mr. Greene, did you always have such a small team to work with within your office?
It's always been a difficulty in terms of the contingent of our numbers, yes. And as a matter of fact, we have the capacity, right, under our stream for only 10 prosecutors. That is the maximum, right? That is the maximum, including myself, right? 10. This clearly is not, enough in the circumstances, but we do not complain. And I'm telling you, as my Crown Counsel can definitely say, we are in court every day pushing. And as a matter of fact, I would want to say one thing to the press. The press needs to make its presence felt at the courts, because I think it is so important that the press, and I did a few matters, I did quite a bit of matters where there's been no press coverage. No, but you tell me, because listen, this is why the disbelief and mistrust, you understand, starts to occur, because you need to make yourself present, know what's happening in the courts, see how many matters, and I'm coming to you. I'm going to
I
give
think
you all
we're
the time.
deviating
Yes,
a little from my
etc.
question.
But I'm just saying the presence there needs to be re-established. Yes.
Okay, which leads me to my next question, Mr. Greene. I think we need to address speculations or quote-unquote rumors that your office is currently dealing with a high turnover. Have you addressed these issues, or are
The high
these rumors?
turnover?
Yes. So are these rumors at all
Oh, no.
true?
That- at all. The DPP's office is a fundamental, I would say, stepping stone in the lives of many practitioners. And I, as DPP, will never, ever, right, ask for someone to remain together with me in my office where there is the potential for significant growth in one's life. And if you look, it's a very good starting point for many practitioners. And I'm very proud of all of them that have come and have left on very, very, very cordial terms with the office. I'm very proud to see where they are. Again, being a prosecutor, it's not the most financially rewarding, right, job. It's not in the circumstances. I even saw today, I think, they said I was earning $40,000.
So how much you earning?
That is so untrue, But I think the office needs to make the remuneration aspect of things more attractive, you know, for potential prosecutors and even in the magisterial court. Because like I said earlier, we have a great difficulty because what we are doing, we are using members of the force who can actually be attached otherwise, okay, to investigations, etc. I suggested maybe we can embark on having retired police prosecutors, persons of that nature, who can come back and provide the service, you know, so that we can really hit this backlog, you know, head on, right? So there's not been any turnover that I am concerned about at all.
So it's not an issue going
Not
on in
an
your
issue.
office, just
Not
to be
at all.
clear.
As a
Okay.
matter of fact, we are coping. We are definitely coping, but we need much more support. The ambit of the capacity of the office needs to be expanded. Okay?
Okay. Why was the driver of the vehicle in which Arnold Joseph was traveling in charged with traffic offenses when a firearm was found at the scene?
Let's be careful. A firearm was found at the scene. You see, again, we must be guided appropriately. You have listened to intelligence or a rumor, and you are saying so. I can tell you, right?
But then that's why you need to clarify,
Yes.
so tell me.
Yeah. So we need to not delve into the evidential aspects of any of these offenses, please. Because, and I am asking you all that because I know what can happen further down the line. And I know, oh my goodness, it will be a wonderful thing for me, as Mr. Elliott said, it's a mute conference, which I completely disagree with. But you must understand the aspects of prosecution and evidence. It is to be determined in a court. And when you go to court, which I expect to see many of you, you know, subsequent to today, you will find that the judge has to direct, based on the fact that there's all of this social media and all of these avenues for persons to discuss matters or say things they know about matters. The judge has to direct the jury not to, in any way, shape, or form, pay attention to anything that they've heard on these platforms. You see?
Yes, but you
And
do
only
understand.
to- and
You
only
do
to the evidence
understand
in the box.
that
So-
we are the media, so we
Yeah, of
have
course.
the you know, we have to ask you
Yeah,
the
of course.
questions that
and
we
that's
need to
why
get.
I'm here to encourage you, to tell you and to guide you that some of the questions, the extent to which you want to get these answers, they will only be answered really and truly, right, if the matters are brought before the court and you come in and recognize what evidence is being adduced, okay, and you will see clearly for yourself. But
Right,
don't
and
want
you
to-
provide that clarity.
Yeah.
You're right. One last question. Why did you choose not to renew the contract of the deputy?
Oh, I did not choose not to renew the contract. Okay? And again, I will not discuss this aspect, you know, of my office, right? With the press. You know? That is something that's administrative in its function. It has no bearing on the operations of the office or the dispensation of justice. I think you would agree with that.
No, but we are the media and the people. We act as a mouthpiece to the people. So whatever questions that the people ask, we need to ask
Well,
you
who's
so we can
asking that?
disseminate this information to them.
For his renewal of the contract?
I beg your pardon?
Did you recommend?
Again, right? I will not sit at any platform and indicate the intricacies of confidential material within the confines of my office. I will not do that. That is not an appropriate thing to do at all. You may want to speak with the individual yourself, and if he or she wishes to indicate anything to you, that may be, you know, your best ground to get some feedback, but not from me. Definitely not.
All right, thank you.
Oh,
All right.
yes. Oh. Definitely.
Please, the mic.
Okay.
You-
No difficulty. Look, you have been provided with the mic immediately.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Well, Mary Francis. I'm the director of the National Center for Legal Aid Incorporated. This is a non-governmental organization in the pursuit of human rights and justice for people, also an attorney at law. I am very pleased to be here today. I think I have made lots of calls through the media that the DPP should come out and have a meeting. The last occasion was in May, 2 months ago, last month rather,
on the
13th anniversary of the death of the B45. I have been traumatized by those deaths. I think I was very, very much involved in 2011, 2012. I'm representing this lady here, Anne Louise, who is the mother of Alan Louise was one of the young men killed on that night of the 5th of May, and also a witness, so to speak, or a close friend. I think democracy is alive in St. Lucia with all the members of the media here today. I'm trying to get the information and so forth. And all you have said, Mr. Leonard DPP, I am fully aware of those issues, because over the years I have lamented, I have advocated for changes and so forth, and it falls on deaf ears. What you have revealed today, to those who don't know, I think is a serious indictment on the state and the governments, or past governments, present government, because the government has a constitutional duty to protect life. And when life is taken by the agents of the state, the police in this case, there must be swift accountability and there must be a remedy. That is the position on the international law. International law treaties and our constitution requires a prompt trial.
Within a reasonable time.
Correct. And it's 11 years. And from what you have said and what I know, the wall of resistance has to be broken in this situation. You have pointed to the wall of resistance, which I know about. The question of the police. You cannot have police investigating police, because it's like a club. They're all a college, a collegiate.
There is a perception.
Well, from my experience and the difficulties I've encountered over past almost, the organization is 28 years old this year, and the difficulties I've encountered with police and investigations, I can really say that is where the problem lies. You call for independent police investigation. The members of the public have called for this for the longest while, because the complaints unit, which receives complaints, is not working. It's not
independent.
Exactly, and it's not working. There are today many reports lying on the commissioner's desk from investigations from the complaints unit, and nothing has been done. So I think the wall of resistance has to be broken. And the impacts report, recommendations were made to improve the police force because of certain unbelievable practices that they discovered in terms of ammunition and all those things. That has not been looked into.
No, it has. I must say.
Well, some of the recommendations have not been followed.
So
and from what you have said, I think it's a question of disrespect of your office. If I advise the commissioner in terms of the V45, that steps should be taken to bring in the police and the prosecution should go ahead for reckless manslaughter. To my mind, how can the commissioner of police disregard, and for how long will the commissioner of police disregard the advice of the DPP?
In her defense, to be quite honest, she appears to be one of the busiest commissioners I've ever met. I'm telling you. I would say she appears to be. And that I think, based on what has been indicated, that we need to afford the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, the Commander-in-Chief, who is the Commissioner of Police, the opportunity after this to see what happens. But I would say that at this juncture, I would understand that the society will not wish to hear that there is a protracted period of waiting for resolution.
Because delay is very deadly to a successful prosecution. The question of the witnesses, their memory, and so forth. Correct. I can recall during the Operation Restore Confidence, persons were asked to jump ship, leave the country. Well, I'm just what my experience is.
Speculation.
Certain witnesses, which I know for a fact, The Ashley Bernard case, the young man in the graveyard, this was a case crying to heaven for vengeance. I was involved in that case. As a matter of fact, when the inquest started, the police officers who were involved in the killing objected to my presence at the inquest.
But that
I
is
wasn't
not
even
objectionable.
allowed to cross-examine.
Section 30, I think. Of the
Well, I raised it, and eventually the coroner allowed me to stay, but I could not cross-examine. So there were lots of discrepancies in that particular inquest. And some of the witnesses found themselves in Canada. I don't know how they got the pass to go to Canada. Some of them who came back were subsequently killed. I don't know about their deaths. So a lot of things have happened to affect the prosecutions. And those inquests that were held, those inquests were just a one-sided affair. With the police who gathered the information, placed it before the coroner, and so forth. So there are lots of problems in our justice system which prevents the citizens of this state from getting justice, especially when it involves the agents of the state, meaning the police. And this is a very, very bad, because it means we are always operating in a police state. Why? I would suspect the politicians who are aware of those things, why aren't they solving the problems? To my mind, the politicians and maybe the police are almost working hand in hand. To my mind, or there is some fear on the part of the police or the commissioner to follow your advice. I can recall years ago with a former DPP, there was a matter in which I was involved, a police shooting. And the DPP recommended to the police serious crimes unit to prosecute, indict the police officer. And the commissioner said to me, who is the DPP? We cannot follow any advice from the DPP. I said, no, he is the authority under the Constitution. He has advised you. Persistence is important. I persisted, and eventually this officer was indicted. So we have to persist. As he said, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. The price of justice is eternal vigilance. And I'm happy that you have met the public today and you have held this conference. And I've always said I cannot speak for you, you can speak for yourself, but I know where the problem is. No independent police investigative unit. It is a shame that this is happening in St. Lucia today. People have lost their lives at the hands of the state, and the state, to me, is an accomplice by their failure to act and follow. You said there was a cabinet conclusion in 2021.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
And nothing has been done. It is really, really shameful what has been taking place over the years. Your office has been neglected, the judiciary has been neglected, and then you have an upsurge in crime because the people are realizing the system is ineffective. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to allow the persons who have been there. And I think, as I said, I have been suffering a vicarious, traumatically, because whilst I'm not a member or a family member, but having to go through and walk the road with those people, it also, the trauma that they are facing also affects me vicariously. And I would wish to see the end of this situation. Whatever we can do in terms of advocacy, it must be done to assist the office of the DPP in terms of ensuring that the police do not become a law unto themselves in this country. We are still a democracy, and we have a constitution to follow, so therefore we cannot bend, we have to continue. And I thank you for allowing me to speak.
I'm very, very happy for your contribution. Thank you so much. Can I have him get an opportunity, please? He's been having his hand up from the commencement. Come over here to ask the questions.
Good afternoon, good morning. My name is Dylan Sempi. I'm representing Mitchell Cuddy.
Yes.
I just want to ask, why so long? Why 14 years, 3 weeks, and a day to come to a conclusion of the G45? Because automatically it was me.
Correct.
Reports like that come to my desk. Automatically, one gun, five people to me, and all 5 dead. That's really
But
ridiculous.
let's not go into any of the evidence.
Yeah,
but let me answer. Let me answer in that regard. And the state has to take responsibility to a great extent for the inordinate delay, right, in bringing these matters to the fore. I can say this has not been my position as of today. It has been my position for quite some time. Okay? And I can say that. Hence the reason I'm saying the independence of an investigative unit must be established to ensure that these delays do not occur any further.
Yes, I can recall somewhere down the line, investigative officer on that same particular case was only had like 5 years under the belt. To me, in a case like that, you're supposed to have somebody with much more experience in the field. 14 years, 15 years in investigative.
But that does not say what competence.
Somebody 5 years, like to me, somebody 5 years of
That's
experience as an investigator. There will be certain things you will not keep track of,
right,
or you will not have knowledge of.
And that is why it is important for there to be lead investigators. So I would not imagine that a person who might call a rookie for about 6 months or a year would be tasked with the mandate to investigate a very complex case. That person may be part of an investigative team and be required to do specific things in the investigation. You with me?
To me, I'll still say a 5-year investigative is a rookie. You're rookie in a case like that is a rookie. And question. The firearm that was used by the officers, are they still in evidence, or are they anywhere here in the island? I just want to ask.
But what is
because what to my understanding,
I will not know.
The firearm. To my understanding, the firearms that was used is no longer in existence. Yeah, by the police.
No, that is
that's what I heard. Yeah.
No, I'm telling you that is completely untrue. Okay, I can debunk that immediately. So, and again, let us not delve in to the aspects of the investigation in that regard. But that is not true. That is not true.
So, okay, in the Viewfort 5, actually, you brought us here to make us know what's going on, or are the police going to get prosecuted? Are they going to get charged?
From here, it is expected that due process will be followed. I've indicated, so now we have to keep watch of what happens from here. Okay? I have asked in my presentation to you that the investigative team be allowed, right, to carry out the arrest, to complete the investigations in this matter. Okay? And you will definitely hear an update subsequent to that.
So, how are you not so sure it will take 14 years, 3 weeks, and a day again?
You know what? I will want to believe that after today, that there will be some semblance of urgency, okay, in getting these matters completed and resolved. Okay? And I do apologize to you. I know that you are a member, for all of these years that you have waited. I do apologize. And you actually have the record of the time, because it was May the 5th, 2011. Okay, sir? So I do apologize for the delay in that regard.
Mr. Elliott said something earlier on. He said that majority of the officers are currently in position, high rank position.
No, he didn't say so.
Well, okay. Yeah. Since he didn't say so, he has a job to come to think. I will tell you, majority of the officers in that particular police incident are promoted. Who are corporal, who are sergeant, who runs their own station instead of, and we have to go through that every day. And
so again, that would be within the, I understand, but that would be within the administrative framework of the Office of the Commissioner of Police. And so that is all I can say. I know that the Office of the Commissioner is capable to deal with these matters when, necessary in the circumstances.
So, okay, my last question. In the report you found in front of you, wasn't Didn't you find that evidence,
Hold on.
certain evidence was being held against you to push your case forward?
No.
So you
I
saying
think that this team explored all lines of inquiry. And that in itself is commendable for this investigative team. I think that lines of inquiry that were not, whether by inadvertence or otherwise, not explored, were explored. And so it has brought us here today. Okay?
all right, thank you.
All right.
That's
You're
all.
most welcome.
Good morning, Sheffield Gillard from
Hey,
Loop
well,
News.
good afternoon now.
Hey, good afternoon.
No
Apologies.
difficulty. You have to go.
Mr. Green, earlier you stated that you made a recommendation for an independent commission to investigate.
Investigative agency.
Yeah, to investigate police shootings. Are you saying that by not taking your advice to create that entity, the government has impeded due process?
I think it's something they should really look at doing as soon as is possible, because what amazed me entirely, because I was not part of the composition of the framework for the special prosecutor. I saw this legislation like everybody else. And I would have thought that under an office of that nature, they would have had room for the functioning of a special investigations unit there. That would have been the most appropriate place. So I think I'm still confident, I remain confident that this will be done. And you agree with me that it is necessary.
You recommended that the officers be arrested and interviewed, but that was done, I think,
in November of 2017.
2018.
Yes, in November of 2017.
So, can you explain what was not obtained during that?
The lines of inquiry, they were not complete. In 2017, these lines of inquiry were not complete. So it is completely distinct from where it was in November of 2017 to now.
In what way?
I cannot say. But I can tell you, right, that the investigation has led to, right, the sufficiency of evidence at this point.
You think that's fair enough to, on the part of the officers, to be called in and in that manner once again?
Listen, you have to think about all parties concerned. And we, in a democratic society, must understand that the balance must be struck between the respect for the society and the respect for law enforcement and law enforcement agencies. It is my view, right, that there should be reciprocity in that case, so that there can be a balance where an individual, like the last speaker indicated, is accused of a crime or is suspected to have committed a crime. We need to move much quicker in this country to deal with that, as the same for any law enforcement or public official or anyone, because the rule of law does not protect those in high offices. The rule of law is for everyone, so that I believe this balance must be met. If you have an independent agency that embarks on these investigations, if they are concentrating solely on these investigations rather than having, I would say, each officer may have had at least 20 homicides, etc., to deal with under their own purview, it would obviously speed up the process.
Why was there so much concentration on the report by the Jamaicans rather than our own coroner's court?
Well, let's make a distinction. The impacts report became quite popular because everything was the impacts report and what is contained therein, and a lot has been, but it's been one of my greatest disappointments, because, like I said the last time, you can say everything you want, accusing all of us here of doing some things. Even me, they said, what am I? A green goblin or something like that? And that I am a taker of substances and all of this cocaine, and I'm a chain smoker. A lot of defamatory things. And this is what it is, speculation. You cannot convert what may be in there. So say, for instance, if the team from Jamaica had provided all of evidence, or as I said on my last occasion, we received nothing from them. We received nothing from the Jamaican Constabulary Force. Nothing. And that is why I was saying it was very improper to say that it's an impacts report, because impacts did not participate. It was not done on behalf of impacts. The Constabulary Force of Jamaica conducted this review and prepared this report.
Yeah, but you met with them when you assumed office.
On the 6th or the 3rd of November or the 6th of November, 2016.
What was the basis of the discussion?
To find out, because under the Police Complaints Act, as amended, which is section 18 from my memory, right? The Police Complaints Act made the specific provision for, I think it's subsection 4, right? For all material gathered from these investigations to be provided to the Director of Public Prosecutions. And I mean, I haven't read the, but my memory is a bit good in that regard. And that was not done. So rather than I await for this to be done, I went. I had the opportunity. I went to get to find out exactly what was going on, but to no avail.
So to this date, you have received no evidence whatsoever, nothing from the Jamaicans?
Nothing. The investigations commenced from the ground up, from this investigative unit's perspective. It commenced ab initio.
Considering the time lapse, on what basis was evidence gathered, to put a case forward to charge?
In what period are you speaking of? Presently?
Well, from the time of the Jamaican investigation.
I wouldn't call, to be quite frank, I wouldn't really call the Constabulary Force's review an in-depth investigation, because an investigation entails, if you have sufficiency of evidence, right, and that you will accuse anyone, myself or anybody, that it would lend to reason that if you have sufficient evidence to warrant an arrest, that you arrest that person and that you take an interview or you take a caution statement from that individual, right? These, I can say, at that time, I see no record of any arrests being made by the Constabulary Force pertaining to any of these matters.
So the current report is the investigation based on the current report from the Jamaicans? Does it have any merit?
It has, to a point. Like I said, it provided intelligence from my reading of it, right? But did not provide the evidence in support that I could have, okay, put it this way, I could not have relied on the report and say or give my advice or opinion on any of these matters without having more, you understand, done in that regard.
Earlier on, you referenced contents of the report as hearsay. Dr. Anthony, who was Prime Minister at the time, brought in the Jamaicans as an independent agency. Are you now contradicting your statement?
Listen, INDICOM is an independent agency, okay? The Constabulary Force from Jamaica were brought down with a mandate to review the instances of killings, right? And to conduct investigations if needs be. I can tell you from what was provided to me, an investigation is commenced by the accumulation of evidence, real, otherwise, forensics, etc., and placed together in a file, right? And that is presented for review so that a way forward can be plotted, right? Okay? I did not see that that was done, reference to the constabulary force. Okay? I cannot say so. And the fact that they did not assist any further really and truly left it to the local investigation team, right, to gather the necessary evidence.
Okay. During his address, Dr. Anthony cited the involvement of business.
Again, I'll stop you because I believe it is unfortunate, and I really don't want to go back to that part, because it is unfortunate that these statements were made. To be honest, I would guide you accordingly not to repeat them because right, they do not form evidence, you see.
But have they been investigated?
The instances, I would say definitively so, that there would have been, in light of what may have been reported, that there's been some investigation into these allegations.
And based on the
based on it, there's nothing to act on. Okay. Nothing to act on. And that's what I want to repeat. You must, if there's nothing to act on, you cannot say that it is evidence. You see? It has to cross the threshold in the circumstances.
Shakadan Daniel, you were the attorney at the time before you became DPP. The coroner's inquest ruled that the officers involved should have been charged. Why?
No, that's not correct. Let's get what a coroner's inquest is there for. A coroner's inquest is positioned to determine how, when, and why, or by what means a person has lost their life. There are particular inquests, right, that will be done by jury, okay? Where someone dies in police custody, right? You would embark on a jury, an inquest with a jury. But what you must understand is case law to back it up. A coroner's inquest does not prevent the Director of Public Prosecutions or the head of an investigative unit like the Commissioner of Police from proceeding, right, with their own investigations, notwithstanding an inquest is ongoing. And we must understand the standard of proof in an inquest. An inquest is not there to determine guilt or innocence. An inquest may give an indication that there needs to be further lines of inquiry, right? Or criminal lines of inquiry, based on the fact that there seems or appears to be some form of culpability. But the inquest, the jurors, and that's what I think a lot of us don't understand, is that when you say what the inquest ruling was, it is not a verdict of guilt.
What was the ruling by Mr. Innocent at the time as it relates to the death of Shakadan?
No, it was by a jury.
And the way forward.
It was by a jury.
Yeah, okay.
So the jury said, I can't remember the exact terminology, but would have said a lawful, etc. Death. I can't recall exactly what it was. But that notwithstanding, okay, we must get this evidence as prosecutors and investigators and see whether the evidence presented thus far crosses the threshold, right, for the sufficiency of evidence to say, hey, we can go and charge and lock up someone, you know, for a particular offense, you know. So the evidential burden must be discharged, and it is much different in the stage of a coroner's inquest, much different, I think.
Kira earlier asked about Arnold Joseph. Why was the driver charged with traffic offenses? However, based on the police report, if I recall clearly.
What police report?
The police news report.
Okay.
A firearm was found en route.
Now you see, you put in a different context. I'm not going into any part of the evidence because I recognize the fact that these matters are still not completed. I will not speak to that.
But
at all.
the police would lay charges and advice from the DPP, no?
Not in all, no, you see, again, that's fundamentally flawed. Because if the police, just think of it, people, if the police or the other agencies had to contact my office to get the go-ahead to charge every single person, that's thousands of complaints. That's thousands of complaints that I would now, because they are sufficiently competent in the dispatch of their duties that I would not expect that they would come to me for everything, even a traffic matter, etc. I mean, I would expect for the more complex situations to be brought to my attention in the circumstances.
Okay, I'll give Tench.
No problem. You have any more? I think we have some refreshments, if necessary. Yes?
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. I just want to ask some further questions to establish sort of a timeline of the investigation period to get greater clarity. When you commenced, you stated that your office and other investigating agencies need to work in tandem.
Yeah.
I think that was very well placed, given with your responses, it might appear to some as though there's a disconnect between your office and the office of the police commissioner.
I don't think that there is a disconnect, right? But I think our functions have been, conflated in that regard. I had the impression, and I always got it, that from hearing, when I listen, occasionally to what is being said on the media, because if you have to listen every day, you won't get anything done, that I really, or my office, has direct superintendence over, right, all matters under investigation. It's not. And I have a very, very, very good relationship with the Royal St. Lucia Police Force in terms of my assistance to them, etc., and the discussions pertaining to investigations. There is no difficulty whatsoever.
Okay. You stated that it is your recommendation to the police commissioner that the officers in certain cases be arrested and interviewed, and once more to gain, to explore lines of inquiry. Could you tell us when that recommendation was made to the police commissioner?
Well, as a matter of fact, like I've indicated before, this has been something that has been done quite some time ago, and I can say up to yesterday, I had a meeting with the Commissioner of Police. Up to yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, up to then. And all of these matters, right, were under discussion.
Okay.
So it is my view and my anticipation that we move, swiftly from here, so that there can be an end or a completion of the investigative stage in these matters.
So at present, neither your office nor the office of the commissioner have arrived at somewhat of a decision, as it were, to say either to prosecute or not to prosecute.
Listen, I'll tell you something. An investigation entails the gathering of evidence, the sufficiency of the evidence, where there is reasonable suspicion, the arrest of the person, the interviewing, and from there, it is ended to decide exactly whether this person, based on this arrest, should be charged for the particular offense. So I will allow, and let's not preempt, let us get the investigations completed in this matter. I have made my recommendations, and I'm hoping with swift, action from here on that this will be done, and that we can have some resolution, which obviously you're going to hear, about very, very subsequent, very soon, or in short order after that.
So,
Okay?
so this latest recommendation to arrest certain officers isn't necessarily a conclusion. It's just part of the process.
It is a part of the process, which will therefore result in particular things happening.
So
Okay.
after this arrest that you have recommended, would we see officers either being charged or
You
not
will
charged?
see the outcome. So allow, like I'm saying to persons, allow for that process to be undertaken. I would ask you kindly, allow for it to be done. This is what I expect to be done, and we will take it from there.
So this is really somewhat the penultimate thing. that-
Right, but in any investigation, that is required, in any investigation, criminal investigation. You
Oh,
can't,
mhm.
in the common law system, you could have simply accused somebody of doing something and lodge complaint against them. But this is not what obtains now. The investigative process must be completed, and I'm saying to you that that is part of completing the investigative process. I will tell you in short order from there what the particular charges, right, if any are, right, and what obtains from there. You will definitely get the update as soon as the advice is acted upon.
Okay, just 3 more questions. Well, not so many.
That's fine.
Okay. So we have on the one end the report written by the Jamaicans. We have on the other end the inquest that was conducted here. How do these 2 reports relate
Reconcile?
to each other, in as well as in other ongoing local investigations?
Right. So they are distinct to a great extent because many of the inquests really were conducted before the review from the Jamaicans as the Jamaican Constabulary Force. Right. These inquests were already conducted. The Jamaicans reviewed the circumstances. Right. So I would say they are distinct to some degree, right? Because they have different functions. Okay? Because the inquest has a particular purpose, the review was for a particular purpose. And what we're saying the investigative team has done is a thorough investigation, right? As would obtain in St. Lucia of these matters under review.
Okay, and the final question is unrelated to this, but with the special prosecutor.
Yes.
How does his office relate to your office? Does he have to, for instance, with the police, does he have to initiate proceedings and then you take it from there, or
No,
can
he has the power to
prosecute at will
Yeah.
on his
He
own?
has the power to, from the act that I read, right? He has the power to institute proceedings, right? And to investigate. And again, he would be placed in the category of agencies, just like the police force, FIA, customs, SLASPA, etc. Right? I would still have the superintendents over any criminal matter that's brought before the courts in this country, if necessary. So yes, if it needs be, he can refer a matter to me, if he so chooses, or right, embark on a prosecution in his own right from his office.
Okay, and just to confirm, back to impacts, that after this stage of police being arrested and interviewed, we would see, or
Definitely
we
would see a
understand,
conclusion.
something
One way or the other.
substantial
One day,
in-
way or the other. So once that is done,
in this
I
matter.
anticipate in short order there will be a conclusion to that aspect of things. Okay?
to that aspect. of
Yes,
things.
to that aspect of things. There will be a conclusion. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Can I just,
Thank you. Yes?
just a little follow-up from what Mr. Kenzo asked. Just for us to be academic.
2 minutes now?
I got the impression that your advice, what you stated here, that the evidential threshold warrants a
The
charge
arrest.
of reckless manslaughter.
No, I didn't say warrants a charge. No.
That's what I said.
No, yes, it warrants the arrest and interviews of these persons. And we must remember there is not one individual, there are numbers. So we cannot simply holistically say exactly what will transpire at the end of the investigation. So we must allow for that to happen, and that in short order you will definitely hear what the possible outcome of these proceedings are, and we would take it from there.
But in terms of your office,
Yes.
evidence and statements have been acquired from the officers after the involved in the
Oh,
shooting.
in 2017, from my review, there were statements recorded. Like I said earlier, there is a need now to go back, go to them presently, right?
And follow the legal channel.
Exactly. And I know that in short order you will be apprised. 1 minute left, I'm being told.
Just the coroner's inquest. Would you say that it needs to be strengthening and reforming the coroner's inquest?
Definitely. The coroner should have the power to indicate what should happen at the end of the day, because it's a task in futility if the coroner's inquest cannot in any way direct the way forward in a matter.
In terms of your office, do you have any prosecutorial guidelines? Have you drafted any prosecutorial guidelines, especially in terms of the police prosecutors? What is the relationship between them? I do have the police prosecution unit.
Yes.
I don't think there's sufficient supervision because there have been so many allegations of misconduct on the part of
I think they're going to cut us off. Yes. Oh my. Is that it?
Just one more.
One more?
Yeah.
Please?
Yeah,
Go
good
ahead.
afternoon, sir. Yeah, this is in reference to the Shakadam case. Reginald Andrew from the Voice Publishing.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Now, with utmost respect for the police, the work they do, and as well as your office.
Yes.
But nonetheless, a young man's life was cut down in the prime of his youth. There was a lot of public protests. And
yes.
And then you mentioned the inquest, that despite what the inquest said, and not to undermine the other incidents of crime, because a lot of families have gone through agony. But I had a personal relationship with the family. The father spoke to me just before he passed away.
Yes.
And he told me there was a civil matter that they were supposed to get compensation or something. The mother has been all around. Why is it there's still a delay in not compensating these families for that incident?
That's a very good point. I think that there should be, in my perspective, the young man died whilst in police custody. So I think that should be, closely reviewed. I did provide the file to the good Attorney General, right? Sometime, I think in 2022, right? And for the necessary action, if any. So I would hope that something can come out of it. I'm not dealing with the civil aspects of things. We deal with criminal responsibility as it pertains to prosecutions here.
So if they were to seek conclusion to this through the civil, how would the civil court be able to deliver that kind of...
The unfortunate thing in civil litigation of that nature, when you are going against the state, the arm of the state, there is a particular deadline from the date of the incident to when you actually have time to file these matters. So that has to be explored, etc., and then the family can look into these details.
So from what you said, the perspective, the judicial perspective, now that the inquest has been given, there'll be no more criminal proceedings in this matter?
I cannot say that there will not be. We have to allow it to the investigation to be completed. And I will await some feedback from the Commissioner of Police. I've been told, members of the public, that my time, it has elapsed.
On
It was...
it has elapsed. Yeah. The live, it has elapsed.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So, okay. Right.
Are the findings of
I need some...
are the findings of an inquest
Can I
public?
get instructions as to what obtains now? The fact that it's ended...
Just
on
one more
18?
question, please, sir. Are the findings of an inquest public information?
It's actually a public hearing.
And if a journalist would like a copy of said inquest, can your office provide it, or
if
the senior magistrate?
It depends on... I think it would depend on the status of the matter, because some inquests are being done parallel to an investigation. Understand that. And the inquiry is an inquisition and there is a criminal investigation. So if there is anything that is published from the inquiry that will affect the fairness of the criminal investigation, right? Then I would believe that any journalist would be asked, to ensure that this is not disseminated, as it can be completely prejudicial to the case for the Crown or even for a suspect in the circumstances.
The findings of an inquest, not the proceedings. The findings of an inquest, should they be made public?
Yes.
We've written to your office and to the registrar as well, senior magistrate as well, for the inquest in nearly all of the police-related shootings from 2010 to 2011. To date, we have not gotten it. Can you give us confirmation now that since it is public that we can get a copy?
What you need to do is to see whether these matters were penned by the coroner or recorded, right? So you would need to look into that and see whether there is a transcript available or anything of that nature, and write.
And because of that response, we have written to your office, we have written to the senior magistrate, we have written to the registrar to get that information. And this has been going on for nearly 3 years, trying to get what you just explained is public information.
You said the outcome of the inquest is public information.
The outcome of the inquest is public
contents,
information.
because remember, a coroner, and you don't know, the coroner still has the power, right? Even though the public is allowed, allowed to attend, to exclude the public for a particular reason.
Why didn't you give us the information when we asked for it? We wrote to your office on several occasions.
I am not sure that I recall, okay? And if you wrote to my office, I'm not sure if I recall, and I would say to you that that is within the remit of the magistracy and not me. Because the same request that you are trying to make, I would have to make myself from the magistracy in the circumstances.
My final question to you, sir, is you invited us, members of the press, to attend more court sessions. Yes. We are asking collectively to be allowed access to the Zoom links, because a lot of the court happens now on Zoom, which is public. Would it be possible, sir, to allow members of the press the Zoom links so that we can attend court?
I do believe that that is entirely possible. One caveat: there are some preliminary matters, in terms of the hearing of certain matters at different stages that will be heard in camera, even though, right, there is a Zoom link. So you would have to, and I don't have a difficulty in assisting the press, because we obviously have the cause list, so you can reach out to us and we can actually guide you in terms of what matters would be held in camera and what would be for public hearing. All right? As we would know that certain hearings would definitely take place in camera. But I would love to see the reestablishment of the press, at the courts, so that you have a true picture.
So this is confirmation. This is confirmation on the record to my colleagues that aside from cases being held in camera, we, members of the press, will be able to access those Zoom links on a regular basis.
I will undertake to indicate this to the registrar of the High Court, and you can return to me by tomorrow, right, to have that answer.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay?
Greene.
That is not a problem.
Thank you, Mr. Greene.
Oh boy.
One more question off the record.
Off the record.
Yeah, off the record.
Yeah.
Operation Restore Confidence, right? It will, I understand well, it was by the police and them, but for something, for a document like that to come forward to the police, doesn't that will come out from a higher authority signature for the police to go ahead to do what they have to do?
She's saying about.
Yeah.
Operation Restore Confidence, right?
I heard you.
And the police, what I'm saying, that the police didn't just go out of the way and just go for Operation Restore Confidence.
Right. Again, Again, you want to send me down an avenue I will not explore in the public arena. I have to wrap up. I do apologize. I've been asked that I've gone way over time. I do want to thank everybody for the attendance today. I think that it was a well-informed and not a mute, meeting with you. And I want you to understand that some of you are aware that I am easily reachable, right? The office is reachable. It's a public office. It is not a political one, anything of that nature. So y'all can reach out. We will guide you as necessary, okay? In the circumstance. I want to thank you all for coming. Wow, I have to take one more?
Yeah, just one more. Final question. Why were you prompted, your office prompted, to have this press conference now?
Oh, heck.
Between $600 and $700 a month. This is what exists in our country today. So 130 people, it may sound small, but 130 people will benefit directly. And those